oh my God, you didn't choose my amazing book. But then I read what I sent. I was like, oh my God, I sent this to someone. It's so terrible. And they were right to reject it. 'Cause I think you do that sometimes as a writer. You send something off, you're like, this is the best thing I've ever written.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Conversation with your host, Nadine Matheson. As always, I hope that you're well and I really hope that you're enjoying your week. And yes, this is a double bubble of a week because you get two amazing conversations this week. And I'm going to go straight into my conversation with author Catherine Yardley, whose novels Ember and Where the Light is Hottest are out now. And in our conversation, Catherine Yardley and I talk about the struggle of self-publishing, how she dealt with the challenge of balancing truth and glamour when writing her book, and how a tough year led to unexpected triumphs. Now, as always, sit back, we'll go for a walk and enjoy the conversation. Catherine Yardley, welcome to The Conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Right, my first question, Catherine, is, well, I was going to say it's my first question, but I just had to say with your name. How many times do people say to you, are you Catherine with a K? And you're like, no, I'm Catherine with a C.
Quite a lot, yeah. Because there's quite a few different ways to spell it. And also sometimes I get Caroline as well. So, yeah.
Where did I get Caroline from?
I don't know. I think that sometimes they just see the C and then their brain does the rest. But yeah, it's Catherine with a C.
Only because my mum is Catherine with a C. So I'm like, let me just check. Let me just ask the question. Okay, but now we'll go on to the writing question. That was just me being nosy. Catherine, so what has your writing journey taught you about yourself?
Oh, that is such a good question. Especially since all writing journeys are so long and arduous. What's it taught me about myself? It's taught me that I'm resilient. So I like that about myself. I like that I'm resilient. It's taught me that I could have more patience. And I have to get better at having patience, I think, with publishing. It's like hurry up and wait. You're either waiting to hear back from something or you're sending things off. But I think the thing it taught me is that, in a way, I'm a real writer because I just don't give up. I just keep writing and keep sending things out there. And yeah, I won't quit because I love it. And yeah.
It's funny. I always find when I'm like editing the podcasts, and normally I'm recording them a few months prior, and then I'm recording them to go out. And then I just notice sometimes there's like a general theme. I don't know how it's happened. It's just happened that there's a theme. And it's the last few podcasts I've been editing. There has been this strong theme of persistence. I just have to keep going. I just have to keep going. Just keep going through the rejections and just not letting it derail me.
That's true, though, because if the rejections do derail you, then you just can't be a writer. I did an offer talk last week, and some of the people were like, well, I haven't sent my stuff out, or I'm too scared to send my stuff out. And I just said to them, look, it's a really tough business. But what it is, it's a business of like collecting no's. You have to collect as much no's as possible until you get to your yes. And with every rejection, it'll come back and then you'll read the thing or you'll look at it and then you'll send it back out again. Because I think with me, in my 20s, I acted and I worked in the film industry and I did lots of really kind of cool, exciting stuff. Me in my 20s was kind of a pretty cool person. But then when I was 29, I got married and then I got pregnant. And I thought, my life's probably really about to change. And I think now is probably a good time to like finish that book, write that book. And I'd written 4 nonfiction books and 1 poetry book, and I self-published them. I didn't really like the first one. I actually did try and sub to some publications. I didn't even try and get an agent. I was too lazy for that. I just sent it to actual editors at like HarperCollins and stuff. And they all were, I know, I'm so embarrassed about this now. I'm so embarrassed, but this is the thing. I sent it to Penguin, I sent it to HarperCollins, and they all replied to me, and they were all so nice to me. And this was in probably like 2014, something like that. So it was a really long time ago, but they were all so nice. And then they sent me names of other editors to send the book to. And Yeah, they were so nice. And I actually went to an acquisitions meeting, no agent, an acquisitions meeting. And then I ended up not getting picked up. Said like after about 6 months, we're like, we really almost published this book. We're sorry, but we think it's just similar to this other thing we're publishing. But if you've got any other books. And it was this insane experience. But I ended up self-publishing it. It did quite well. So that was my 20s, was like I self-published these books. I self-published a poetry book. And then when I hit 30, and it's really embarrassing now, but I thought 30 was old.
We all do, though. I remember I said it. What was I talking? God, I can never remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone and I was explaining that when I was training to be a solicitor, and because I started late because I did other things. And I remember speaking to my mum on the phone and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I'm going to be 29 by the time I qualify. I'm going to be so old." And I would have been probably 25, 26 at the time. And to me, 29 pushing 30 was old. And now looking back, 48 looking back, I'm like,
I know. It's so embarrassing, isn't it? But every now when I see someone, it's like, I'm about to turn 30, I'm so old. I'm not. I'm just like, I find it not mean amusing, but I find it amusing because I know like you're still a baby. Honestly, trust me, you're still a baby.
Enjoy it.
But I know you're a child. Like this is the youngest adult age if you think about it. Because your 20s, you're kind of floundering. 20s are hard. I find my 20s hard because you're not really fully formed in a way. But I
wouldn't do my 20s again.
I would not do my 20s. I think 20s is a really tough age. Anyone who's out there in their 20s, especially a woman, I think I'm not being mean to the men. I think being a woman in your 20s is really, really hard. Like the older you get, the better it gets. But yeah, I've gone off on a tangent. But yeah, I hit 30 and I thought, I'm so old and I haven't published a book, traditionally published a book. And I'm never going to do it if I don't do it now. Like time is running out and that's really embarrassing. But I thought, you know what? I'll finish writing the book and I'll send it off. And so I like when my baby was born, I'd walk around with him in the pram until he fell asleep. And then I'd take out my iPhone and I'd write 3,000 words on my iPhone until I had a final draft of the book that's actually out now, Where the Light is Hottest. And that's what I did. And then the first draft was terrible. It was so awful. Like my husband actually read it. I think it's my only book of mine he's actually read. And he's like, that was unreadable.
He said that was unreadable.
He said, it's unreadable. But he said, some of the dialogue's really good though. And I was like, okay, we need more of the dialogue. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to divorce you at this point, but that's put you on check. So, yeah. Okay.
Imagine. That's unreadable.
Unreadable. He's really sweet, but he's good and bunny quotes good at criticism. So he does.
Sometimes you need that though. You need that.
It's true. Yeah.
Bluntness. Sometimes you don't need the affection that comes with familiarity. You need someone to be, you know what? Yeah. There's some good lines in it, but no.
Yeah, I did need to hear that. If he just said, "Oh, it's great," and I sent it out. So yes, I wrote this unreadable draft, and then I thought he's right. It just needs so much work. So I just kept doing it. I actually sent it off. Do you know the Good Housekeeping did a competition?
Yes. I wonder if I entered it. I might have entered it.
I entered it, and I entered that book into it. And then when they rejected it, I was so offended. I was like, oh my God, you didn't choose my amazing book. But then I read what I'd sent. I was like, oh my God, I sent this to someone. It's so terrible. And they were right to reject it. Because I think you do that sometimes as a writer. You send something off, you're like, this is the best thing I've ever written. And then when it's rejected, you're like, oh yeah.
I do think though that in those early days, there is a bravery you have as a writer, and you kind of need that. You need that bravery to send off those drafts to editors who normally would not accept direct submissions. You need that bravery to send off your first draft to an agent. I mean, we've all done it.
I know.
And through that you learn.
That's how you get somewhere though. I mean, I'm from a working class background. I grew up in Scotland. I mean, I had no contacts in the publishing industry or even the film industry, you know. I moved to London. First time I was 19, I moved to London. I didn't know anybody. I was just so ballsy, started going to auditions, would contact people who I didn't know. I would call up people on the phone. That's really kind of what you have to do to kind of get anywhere, like especially in the creative industry, which is so tough. I mean, I'm not sure if it's as competitive as acting. It probably is, to be fair. I mean, you just don't realize because you don't end up in a room with all the other offers who are sending out their submissions.
I think that's the thing, though, with like lots of industries, that even like with law, when I was applying to be a trainee, and in the beginning, so you don't know, so you're constantly learning as you go, especially if you don't come from that sort of background. You don't have lawyers or, you say, actors or writers in your family. You're literally learning as you go with each contact you make or each failed application that you make. And they'll say now it's competitive, you know, being a lawyer, applying for training contracts or applying for pupillage, if you're a barrister, it's competitive. It's one out of how many hundreds are going to make it.
Yeah.
And I suppose the similarity is with, I suppose, being a writer and trying to get that deal, is that you don't really know who else is applying for the same thing. Because even unless you're sitting in an interview waiting room when you're applying for training contract, you're not sitting in the room with other people. So you just throwing it out there and just hoping for the best. But the competition is rife.
Yeah, I think with anything, like there's hundreds of people going for every job. So you may as well do what you love or try and go for what you really want, because there's always other people going for it. But yeah, it's back to that word persistence, isn't it? Just not giving up.
But I don't even think if you even realise that's what that it is, persistence that's pushing you through in those early days. I feel like you just feel like you want something. You want it. And because you want it, you're just going to go forward with it and just see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing.
Exactly.
And just keep sending stuff out. And I was saying that's what I kept doing. I kept writing one book and then another book and then.
Listeners, it's time for a very short break. If you're enjoying this conversation with Nadine Matheson and want to help keep the podcast going, why not buy me a cup of coffee? Your support goes such a long way in keeping these conversations flowing. Just check out the link in the show notes. So when did you realise you were a storyteller? That's a question I like to ask these days.
Do you know what? I am embarrassingly young. So when I just read a lot when I was a kid, my parents' house was full of books. They put a really huge emphasis on reading and how important it was to be well read. And they had encyclopedias. My mum would even buy the books from the library, it's like just shelves and shelves of books. And I would read a book a day. And I think when I was 10, I sent off some poems. And I got some really good rejections, but I also got a poem published in an anthology, which was really exciting. I was like, okay, I managed to get something published.
Yeah.
And I used to subscribe to Writing Magazine as well. So I think it was just something that I always really wanted to do. And then when I was a teenager, I got glandular fever and it was really bad. So I was in bed for 2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Something like that. I was really over, and I was homeschooled, and I got post-viral syndrome. So I wasn't really properly healthy again until I was 20. So it was a really kind of long journey. And then during that, I read a lot. I wrote poems about my feelings, and so I think the writing's always been something that I did. When I was an actor as well, I used to write sketch comedy. I was in a comedy group. And I wrote scripts. My debut novel, Ember, was actually originally a film script, which I rewrote into a novel, which is actually really hard to do. But yeah, I guess just always. I think there's I think a lot of people are just born with a love. I think it's in you. I think if you're a writer, it's just in you.
But did you know that? No, that's not the right question. But what made you decide to go down the acting route?
I think with acting, I went to study something at college, kind of when I was a little bit healthier. I'd missed a lot of my schooling when I was in high school, and I went to go to college to study something, and there was an art course which I'd got a place on, but they were also doing auditions the same day for the drama course, and I was really shy, like cripplingly shy, and I was thinking, oh, maybe if I did the acting course, it would kind of help me with the shyness and kind of bring me out of myself. So I went to audition and then I got on stage, and this is completely unlike me because I was like, always like, I can't even talk to someone. And I got on stage and I just did this improvisation. And then I heard the woman who's leading the drama course say, yeah, she's really good. We need to have her. She can act. And I was like, and then I got a place. It's actually quite competitive to get a place. So I thought, okay. And then, yeah, I got a place in the acting course, turned down the art course. And then after I did that, I kind of got like little parts here and there. I've always like loved film. Like I've always like obsessively loved film. I mean, I just love like all storytelling. I love film, TV, podcasts, novels, short stories, just like when people are connecting with each other. Yeah.
Did it surprise you though? Because you said you had crippling shyness, and the thing is, that's not even unusual. Like, yeah, you say like, so I'm shy. I get stage fright. I don't like, in a sense, being seen. So did it surprise you when you realize that this is your space? This is where you're meant to be, and others can recognize that in you.
It was a big surprise because I think I really lacked confidence because you think about I'd been ill for a really long time. Yeah. And because I was ill, I hadn't really spent a long time around people who weren't my family. So I just didn't know how to really connect with people. I always felt a bit like an alien in a room. And I also moved around a lot when I was a kid. So I always felt like I like the outsider, the kind of person who's on the peripheral. So when I think it was the start of me just being like really brave. So the thing about me is that I'm quite brave. I'll like go for things, even if I'm like, this is terrifying. I'm so scared right now. And I think I just really wanted to be someone who could do it. So I kind of decided that I was going to be someone who could do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of say yes and find a way thing.
Yeah, I've always been the way. My mentality's always been, I'll just do it and just see what happens. And like, what's the worst that could happen? And then it's only when I'm in it, I'm like, oh God, why did I do this? why did I agree to do it? But I'm here now.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing. Like your podcast's amazing. You got all your books. Oh, do you know what? Can I say something?
Yes.
In 2020. So I also run Frost magazine, and we do like lots of like book reviews and stuff. And I was invited to HQ Digital Showcase in 2020. And I went with my friend, and you weren't actually there in person. But your book was debuted there, and you were on, like they played a video of you, and your book was there. So I feel it feels like a full circle moment because I was like a complete nobody. I didn't have an agent. I hadn't sent out any books, and I was there with my friend who's also my friend Nadia, who's also a really good writer, and I was standing there, and I was thinking, like. We both said to each other, like, one day we will be authors. Like one day we will write a book. And this podcast was like a full circle moment because I remember watching your video and then your book being there. And I was like, that woman is just so cool. She's so amazing.
Oh, wow.
It's like, really, yeah.
I'm trying to think where I was because I do remember that I think I was invited to, because they were doing the showcase. But I have a feeling it was either my birthday and there was something I already had going on. And I have a feeling it was around my birthday. That's the only thing that can make sense. That's the only reason why I would say, that's the only reason why I would have said no. Or maybe I was like, I don't even know if I was even in the country. I did.
Yeah, you did this really good video and they played your video and all the journalists were like, oh, that book sounds amazing. They're all talking about it.
Oh, wow. That's the thing. Publishing's so weird because, there's so much stuff going on. I mean, even though I just wasn't there for some whatever reason. But there's so many conversations taking place behind the scenes that you're, as a writer, you're just not aware of until someone tells you, whether it's 5 years later or the next day.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a full circle moment now. Like,
oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, Catherine, what surprised you the most about publishing? Like throughout your journey and now being in it with your 2 books?
I think it's how nice everybody is. Because everybody is really nice. So I think that's the first thing that really surprised me, is that when I meet people, if I meet publishers, agents, other writers, pretty much everybody is really nice.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that really, it's like when I talk to my husband about publishing, he's like, how can it exist? Like, how does it work? He can't wrap his head around it, because I mean, I signed the contract for Winner Likes Hot in 2023 and it came out this year. And he's like, why is there such a long gap to publish the book? And that happens a lot with books. Like, you sign a contract and then 2-3 years later, the book comes out. And it's just, it's a bit of an insane industry, because it doesn't seem to have any rules or any rhyme or any reason at all. Like, there's.
No, I've said it so many times. Like, it feels as though there are rules, but then the rules are always in a constant state of flux. And if you come from any other industry, I don't care if you came from butchery or you ran a pharmacy or a teacher, when you come from any other industry and you're looking at publishing, you'll think to yourself, this doesn't make sense. Like, the business model doesn't make sense. How you deal with writers doesn't make sense. How you promote books, none of it makes sense. And you're constantly with each book and with each conversation you have with other writer friends, you're constantly trying to make sense of it. And then when you feel like you've got a handle on it, it changes again.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough industry. And I think I knew it was going to be tough. And I come from the film industry, which is also a really tough industry.
Yeah.
And I think publishing is just that you're in the dark so much. Like, you never know what's happening. And then at any moment, something could happen. But it takes a really long time.
That's the thing. You just don't know. And so you're constantly having to think, okay, I'm not hearing anything about this book, or I'm waiting to hear whether you do have a publishing deal and it's finishing, and you're waiting to hear whether you're going to get a new deal. You have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah. So there's always a side of you has to be thinking, well, I need to be making other plans. I need to be considering other things. And that's not really a nice position that anyone wants to be in as a writer, because I feel like, and I'm talking about not the ones who are, I'm saying like top 10 making hundreds of thousands. I'm talking about everyone else, like us. And you're like, that's not the position you want to be. You just want to feel, I am writing my book. I am a writer. This is my life, and I can eat and sleep and have nice holidays and do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, I know. It is really tough. I mean, I've been watching Hacks. Have you seen that show? It's about...
No, I haven't seen it yet.
There's this, the older woman, Jean Smart, she does this monologue and saying, so she says to the younger writer, you think it'll get easy at some point, but it doesn't. It just gets harder. You never get to the top. You never really make it. It's just constant. It's just like constant. And that's not verbatim or anything, but it's like, it resonates so deeply with me, because it's true. It's like you can go out of contracts, or you might need to like start writing under a pseudonym. I mean, it's an industry where even if when your book comes out, they might not market it properly, but the person who's going to get the blame for that is the author. Yeah. You know, so if your book doesn't sell, it's your fault. And then it is really tough. Like you feel a lot of pressure as an author to like really put yourself out there, because the stakes for you are so high, because this is your life, this is your dream, this is what you want more than anything. But with the publisher, I mean, they have loads of offers. And I actually think the people in publishing, I do think they're nice. I do think they care. But I think they're overworked, and I think they're underpaid. And I think it's a business. So, yeah.
How do you keep going for it? How do you stay motivated? I
just think that if it all fell apart, I'd still probably self-publish self-publish, and also I write for like different publications, and I've been writing short stories, and so I think I'll always write and I'll always be a writer. And just, yeah. And talking to my friends and all of my different groups. I mean, you probably have loads of groups as well. Like a debut group, querying group, subgroup.
I'm only laughing so hard because before we started recording, I was in my one of my WhatsApp groups, and yeah, I couldn't.
The only thing to be saying, other writers. It's the other writers to be saying.
But I feel like we all go through the same thing. There's just different levels to it, and you can have so many good highs with your career, but then the lows can come just as quickly, and sometimes they come in at exactly the same time. You hear a good result,
I know,
then you also hear a bad result, and you're like, what? Like, for example, and the writer friends I know, you know, they got the deal. They've been out on submission for months and months and months and months and months. They finally get the deal, and then they're doing their edits, and their editors leave, and you're like, what? So now you've got a new editor. Yeah. But then with that, you're worrying, well, are they going to be as passionate about my work as the editor who originally signed me? So there's all these different things going on in your head and throughout this process.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, but I think it's always like the love. Like Where the Light is Hollow actually died on submission, and then initially, and then it ended up getting published. So I honestly think with perseverance, it just really does pay off. And if you can't, I mean, I'm talking about my debut group. Like, there's some of the most talented people that I know, and one of the people in it had 2 books in a row die in submission for silly reasons, silly reasons. And I was like, it blew my mind.
It constantly blows my mind. I was, what was I doing? I was going through the list of authors I recorded interviews with, and I have to record interviews with, and I was going through some of them, and I was just thinking, you are amazing. Like, I've read your books, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about the superstars. I'm saying like normal, mid-level, mid-list authors. And I'm reading your book, and I'm thinking, you should be stratospheric. Your star should be so high and so bright. And for the life of me, I can't work out why that hasn't happened for you, when your book suggests that is what should be happening for you.
And that happens a lot. It doesn't have anything to do with talent. If you think about a lot of industries, if you're talented and you work hard, you'll get promotion and a promotion and a promotion. Yeah. In the publishing industry, talent, it's not that it doesn't matter. You have to be talented, but you also need luck, you need persistence, you need to hit the market right, you need someone to believe in you. Yeah, there's just so many factors that come into play.
Yeah. Can I go back to your self-publishing? This was the question that was bouncing around my head, because it's always what I think about myself when I self-published. Did you know what you was doing?
That's such a good question. Not really. I mean, it's really hard to self-publish. I think one of the reasons why I don't want to do it again, I'd rather someone give me lots of book deals, is that it's really, really hard to self-publish. And people don't realize, like, you have to have it edited, you have to get the cover done, and you're so exhausted by the time you actually publish it that then you have to market it as well. And it's like, oh my God, it's so hard. I mean, I did it on Amazon KDP, which actually made it a lot easier. But yeah, it is so hard.
I always say I would
on your own.
Yeah, I always say if I can help it, like, I wouldn't do it again. No, because it's not that I didn't have I did my research, so I didn't go into it completely blind. And I had friends who were self-publishing at the time, so we were like bouncing off each other. But then I quickly realized, I'm like, there are things I cannot do. And not even that I cannot do. There's things I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to format a book. Like, I just find it boring. And I don't have the time. I don't have the time.
And formatting, you've just given me nightmares.
See? I remember reading up about it. It's just no, it's not what I want to be doing with my time. And I remember reading up about it because in the beginning you think, well, I'll just do everything because that's what self-publishing
Yeah.
means. I will write the book, I will sort out the cover, I'll do everything. And I found an editor, which was fine. I've got a cover artist. I did it on 99 Designs at the time. So someone did my cover for me. And then the format, and I thought, well, I can do the formatting myself. And then I read up about it.
Oh, no.
And then I was like, no. And I saw the demo. I'm like, no, I am not doing this. So I found someone to do it for me.
Yeah, I
said,
paid someone to do mine.
Yeah, I don't have the time. I don't have the interest. And delegation.
Yeah, delegation. Self-publishing, it's all about delegation. But the thing is, it's expensive. It's expensive.
This is the thing as well.
Pay people to do things.
Yeah. Because I was trying to work out the other day. I'm sure I made my money back because it's been so long since I self-published.
I did, yeah.
I think it was 2015. Yeah, I did make whatever money I put into it back. Like I broke even. And, every month I get a nice little email from what they called Amazon. Except it was so funny. It's going off on a tandem. This yesterday morning, I got an email from this Amazon KDP saying, oh, your royalties coming in. And it's not much. It might be like 20 quid. But because of, I'm saying AI, on the Apple iPhone, it will summarize your emails for you. So when you're just looking at the preview. And what it did, so normally it would say, give my account number in the subject headline. But on the summary, all it says was Amazon, royalty, $. Then literally it said about 4 million. I was like, 4 million? I woke up and I was like, 4 million? I'm not getting 4 million. I was like, let me look at this email. I'm like, no, you've just taken, this is why AI is dangerous, people. I'm like, no, you've just taken the account number, or whatever reference number it is, pull it in the summary and put a $sign in front of it. I would have loved to be receiving 4 million. That would have been
And then you retired.
Then I would have just retired.
Yeah, they do that, but they don't always get it right. AI is just dangerous and scary.
How do when you're doing, because if you got with your magazine and stuff, and you're saying you're talking to you're surrounded by writers, and the AI conversation comes up a lot because obviously Meta are stealing our stuff and all sorts going on. How do you deal with the people who will say, I don't have a problem with it?
That's a good question. I mean, I think I say them it's a bit problematic, and I tell them kind of why it's not great. I mean, I was reading something, I think it was on Pop Bitch, which said that this newspaper was taking press releases or like articles from other places, getting AI to rewrite them and then publish them on the site.
Really?
And I was like, that is just so problematic. I mean, first of all, people could be losing their jobs. Secondly, that's not journalism and it's not writing. I mean, nobody should be reading that. That's just kind of like a content mill going around for advertising reasons. I mean, I think there's definitely an ethical question. I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm sure there's something AI is good for, but it's not the creative industries. Only human beings can be creative because only human beings have souls, that belongs to us. Like machines cannot make art and they shouldn't be making art. But that's my opinion. So, yeah.
There are just so many ways in which like AI comes into play when it comes to the creative industry, because it's not even necessarily just about someone using AI to write their book. Because even yesterday, I think it was, there's an article about the Chicago Sun-Times. They did their book recommendations, I think, for the summer, and all of the book recommendations are basically fake. Yeah, they're all fake. I saw that. Real authors, but with books they never written.
Yeah.
And the thing is, no one's checked it either. So there's two issues with it. You got people using AI to create content, and then the people who should be like the good gatekeepers, so your editors in the newspapers and stuff, they're not checking. They're just letting it go out there into the world until you get called out on it.
But that's the thing, is like, who can we trust now? And what can we trust? That's a question we shouldn't have to ask ourselves. When we're on social media, like, you don't know what's real. You don't know you don't even know if there's a different government putting stuff out there. So social media can't really be trusted. So what you should be able to trust is journalism, proper journalism. You should be able to read something, know that it's been through various editors and a fact checker and a proofreader. Because otherwise, what is the point? We need to be informed.
You think it's hard. It's hard because you feel like you got a handle on it, and then something new comes on. You're like, what? Why is everything? I just want to write my books. I just want to sell my books. I just want to make a nice living from my book, and I would like it if no one stole my work. That's all I want. But if you can't even trust the newspaper to put out, these are the books you should be reading for the summer, get the content.
And they're not. I know. I just think Meta, the thing is, like, they just took, like, my book was on that list. And I think they said, oh, we can't pay everyone because we can't afford to. So we just paid no one. And first of all, you can afford it. And secondly, people don't understand the basic right of copyright anymore. Keir Starmer was like, he was in talks with AI. Like, you cannot go in talks with people using AI because you do not own our copyright, Keir. It belongs to us. No one can negotiate about our books unless people pay us money to use our books. And that's a full stop,
Anyway. It's so weird because, talk about full circle moments. When I used to work at the BBC, so we're talking back in 2002, 3, I think it was, a long time ago. And the department I worked in was called Talent Rights Group, which was basically dealing with when we sold the programs overseas. It was making sure we had all the copyright in place before we sold the programs off overseas. And then when we did sell the programs off overseas, making sure that everyone who had some kind of interest in the program, maybe you were an actor or you were the producer, you got paid for it. So I remember the amount of times I'd get phone calls from some background actor, and it's like, I've been paid for this show I was in like 15 years ago. I've just got a check. I'm like, yeah, that's your check because we sold it to the Philippines. So
that's a great thing, That's a great thing.
It's a great thing. So to go from that, and I'm saying that's in 2003, so it's over 20 years. So in just over 20 years, to go to this point in time when there are, I'm saying, entities and companies and governments, and to just feel like, no, you shouldn't be paid for whatever work you did. You shouldn't be. You're right. Your copyright should not be protected. It's infuriating.
It's very infuriating. And we're nothing without art. We're nothing without books.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of books, Catherine, how did it feel the first time you held your book in your hands?
I don't think anything compares to that moment.
No.
It's it takes so long to get there, and it's such a high. It's just, I mean, it's kind of on an equivalent, and I'm not saying it's of like when they placed my son on my chest. I'm not comparing it entirely to that, but it's a very similar dopamine high. It's like, I created this, I'm holding this, it's out in the world. That's the moment where it becomes worth it. Like, all of the pain, all of the suffering, all of the waiting, all of the rejection. I mean, when you get that high, I think you're kind of chasing that high again over and over. I think, and it's the same thing of acting. It's like when you get a part, there's that high, and it's honestly just nothing like it.
And also it's a continuous moment, I think, with the books.
It is.
So you have that moment of, when you see it for the first time, whether it's a proof copy or that final copy, but also when people are responding to your book.
Yeah.
And it could be a book, so even like when people still respond to the Jigsaw Man, and that book came out 4 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
And I'll still get emails, people, they discovered it for the first time and they discovered the characters. You're like, oh my God. Like, it still has meaning, if that's the right word. But it still has something, and it gives a good reaction. So that's always a good feeling.
when it's out there. I mean, when people, because my book's actually got good reviews, and then I've done some book clubs as well. And when you're talking to someone about a book that you wrote and it resonated with them and they liked it, honestly, there's just nothing that's comparable to that. It means the absolute world to me. It's just connecting with people. Or when you write something and it means something to someone, or it teaches them something, or it makes them happy, it's a complete high. It's just amazing.
So, Catherine, do you want to tell people about the new book, Where the Light is Hottest?
Yep. Where the Light is Hottest is about Natasha. She is an actress. She's gone from small town Scotland to big time Hollywood. She's right at the top of her game, and people are trying to bring her down. It follows her from the beginning of her journey to become a successful actor. And then, so it's dual timeline. And then you also see them like trying to bring her down and how hard it is to stay at the top. It's like very true to life. So I was an actor for over 10 years. I was also like a director, a producer. I worked at Yardley Studios for a while. So it's very real, very true. It's got glamour. It's got the Me Too movement. It's got female friendship. It's got toxic female friendship as well. So, yeah, I think it's had a really good reception. I did an offer talk last week, and the librarian said she'd been telling everybody it was like Taylor Jenkins and comparing me to Taylor Jenkins, and I almost fainted. I was like, thank you so much. So, yeah, that's all right.
So I got 2 questions for you following on from that. Did you face any challenges in writing your book?
I did. First of all, I had to make it readable. Not only for my husband, but for everybody else as well. And I think also I had to think what to put in it and what not to put in it, because being an actor is a very tough profession, but being an actress, it can be quite exploitive as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it like really true to life. I wanted to tell a very real story, but I also believe in joy and happiness. So I thought I wanted to make it kind of glamorous and happy and kind of take people on this journey. So I think it was hard getting the tone of it right.
Yeah.
And also making it exciting enough to read. And then, So I think just making it kind of the best book that it was took me quite a while, but mostly because I was scared to let it go. I was scared to kind of put it out there in the world, because I think it was Picasso who said that art is never finished, only abandoned. So I kind of had to abandon it and just kind of put it out there. And yeah, thankfully I managed it in the end.
I think it's such a challenge, though, I think, for so many people, if you're a creative person, just getting out of your own head. Yeah. And we have to get out of our own way, because you can spend so much time thinking, oh my God, what are people going to think about this? And you're so concerned about the response and taking it as a critique on you personally that you never put the work out. So it's such a big job just to get out of our own way.
It is. And it's brave, I am my ex-vicar now, actually, he's retired, Ian Tatham. He's really talented. He's a poet, and he writes lots of great stuff. And he's like, I haven't really sent any of my stuff out. And I insisted that he did, and hopefully he'll hear this. And I insisted that he did. And then as soon as the first poem he ever sent out, he got it published. Oh. And I said to him, like, if you don't send your stuff out, you're not a writer. And I know I don't actually want to say that, because if you write, you're a writer, but you have to send your stuff out. And it's terrifying. It is really scary.
Yeah.
They're like your babies. I call them my book babies. And they are my book babies.
They're part of you.
They're my book babies.
Yeah. You put blood, sweat and tears into them. They are a part of you. So when you have to let it go, it takes a lot.
It does, yeah.
Okay, so if you could spend an afternoon with any of your characters, whom would you choose and why?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, that's such a good question. Um, I think I think Natasha. I definitely want to spend time with Natasha, but also maybe Claudia, because Claudia is really fun. So Claudia is her friend from drama school. She has two friends from drama school, Scarlett and Claudia. Claudia is really fun and full of joy. But I think also Natasha would be fun as well. Oh, it's such a which one should I go for? Okay, I'll just go for Natasha. She's the main character. She's got the main character energy. I'll go for Natasha.
Okay. All right. So, Catherine, final set of questions. Are you an introvert or extrovert or a hybrid of the two?
I think everyone gives the same answer, which is
not lately.
Hybrid. Not lately.
Not lately. The extroverts have been coming out. I don't know whether it's been
really
fun. Yeah. Last few interviews, I'm like, oh, an extrovert. Okay.
That's exciting. I mean, I think writers are by nature quite introverted, but I think I can be extroverted. I think I really love, I think of myself as a sociable introvert where I really love people, and I can actually be really good in a social situation. I think can be good doing an offer talk. I really love people. I love talking to people. I love connecting with people. So I think my love of people makes me a lot more outgoing. Yeah. But then I'm like, yeah, I need to just go read a book now.
Okay. So what challenge or experience, good or bad, in your life shaped you the most?
It's another good question. I think my lockdown was probably the thing that most shaped me. I had the most intense kind of COVID lockdown. So it started with an ectopic pregnancy I needed emergency surgery for. Then I got pneumonia. On the year of Satan 2020, I got double pneumonia. I was going in and out of hospital. And I know this all sounds really sad, but it's like a long time ago. And then I had a miscarriage. So all of this horrible stuff happened, but then I ended up with a rainbow baby and a book deal. So it's the year that stopped me. I'm not going to swear on your podcast, but it's the year that made me stop caring about anything that didn't matter, because it made me incredibly tough. And it made me realize that life is just too short, because I basically almost died. Like I came around from the surgery and like we got that just in time. So I almost died twice, first from the ectopic pregnancy and then from the pneumonia. They also said we weren't sure you were going to make it. So I almost died twice in 1 year. And then I ended up the other side of it with a baby and a book deal. So you know what? I thought I can handle anything now. It's like I once did sketch comedy at the Funny Women Awards, and I bombed so badly. Like the room was like silent, and then people were laughing, but not with me, at me. And I thought, oh God, I'm now invincible. Like,
well, if you can get through that.
Invincible. Yeah. It's like I'm invincible now. And like I don't care about things that don't matter. And also any joy, any happiness, I celebrate to the hilt. Yeah. Like any excuse to get out some champagne, I'm there. So yeah, I think that's the thing that most shaped me.
Right. So if you could go back to when you were 25 years old and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Now, being 20 is the hardest thing, I think. I think it's such a tough decade. Anyone who's listening to this and you're in your 20s, like have a virtual hug from me. I mean, like you're living in house shares. It's like all of this stuff is happening. And when I was 25, I felt like my life was like a mess. I was like doing acting jobs. I was writing for some sites, doing theatre reviews, and I felt like my life had no like center. And I think I'd go back then and say, you know what, it's going to be fine. You're going to find your way. Because I was just like in this kind of state of despair, actually, because I felt like, embarrassingly again, I felt like I was really old. I was like, I'm halfway to 30. I'm so old now. And then, but 25 was like a really turning point for me. I actually met my husband when I think I met him when I was 25. Ooh. I think I met him when I was 25, but it's kind of like it was a turning year for me. But when I became 25, I was like, my life's a mess. I'm so old now. I haven't properly made it. And yeah. So I just say to myself, you know what? It's fine. Don't worry. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. Persevere. We're back
Persistence.
to the persevere.
It comes back to persistence. Okay, so Catherine, what is your non-writing tip for writers?
It is go outside and go for a walk. It's also meet up with your writing friends. Like, complain as much as you want in your writing groups, but just take your mind off publishing and do a lot of self-care.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
And finally, where can listeners of the conversation find you online?
So I'm kind of on all of the sites. I'm on TikTok and X. It's at Balavage, which is Balavage. I know it's a confusing surname. It's actually Lithuanian. It's my grandmother's surname. I'm on Instagram and Threads at Frostbank. And I'm on Blue Sky. It's Catherine BY. And I have a website, which is catherinebalavageyardley.com. So yeah, I'm a bit of a social media. You fill in that word yourself.
I filled in the blank in my head.
Yeah, you did. But I'm there, and I'm there, and I'm really friendly.
You are really friendly. And that just leaves me, Catherine Yardley, to say thank you so much for being part of the conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me. I've listened to every episode, and I think you're amazing. You're an amazing writer. You're an amazing person. And what you do for the writing community is also amazing. So it's a privilege and an honor to be interviewed by you.
Oh, you're going to make me cry now. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to today's conversation with Nadine Matheson. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for a brand new episode featuring more amazing guests. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a review. It really helps the podcast grow. And if you'd like to support the show, you can buy me a cup of coffee or sign up on Patreon. The links are in the show notes. And if you'd love to join the conversation as a guest, feel free to send an email to theconversation@nadinematheson.com. Thanks again for your support, and I'll catch you next time.